So, February starts then. This is the month where the changes in the light really start to go. We're around 1st of February, about nine and a quarter hours official daylight. But by the time we get to the end of February, it's nearly 11 hours. So, end of February into that first couple of weeks of March is where the major trigger is for our tropical orchids, where they get back into what they could call their comfort zone, the 11 to 13 hour period of daylight, which they get constantly where they come from. So they get back into there, and it triggers an awful lot of things. There's an awful lot of things will either start growing that weren't growing, or will speed up their rate of growing, having been going slowly because of the shorter day length. So things are going to start moving now. I missed an anniversary, 28th of January I think it was, the official date when I gave up smoking. The trouble is, I can't remember whether it was last year or the year before. Somebody will tell me. I've been asked a couple of times how that's going. Well, as far as me not smoking is concerned, it's going fine. I mean, I gave it up and that was it. That was that. But when Hannah comes down for the weekend, I do have a few, because I'm not having smoking in the house. I never have. So she has to go and stand outside on her own. So I will have a few cigarettes when she's down for the weekend. But that doesn't mean I've taken up smoking again. I'm capable of doing that. I'm all right to have a couple over a weekend, and then it's finished when I take Hannah back. That's that. Another thing I missed in January, everything in bloom on the 8th, completely went out of my mind. Other things were going on and still are. Tomorrow, all being well, I'm going to pick Tony up, my eldest son, and we're going to go around the house and pick up some things in the garden. I'm going to try and get that table in the garden into the car. I personally don't think it's going to fit. The legs are too long. But I'm going to try and get that in. I'm not going to take it apart to get it. Although I might have a look at taking it apart. Depends how easy it is. If I could take the legs off, then I might be able to get it in the car. And then there's 4 metal chairs that go with that table. And whereas I was probably going to bring one back so that I'd have somewhere to sit outside for me coffee, I actually thought that given the shape of this garden and the fact that I've lost my staging, because that's falling apart anyway, if I bought those 4 chairs back, I'd have somewhere to stand some of my bonsai off the ground. And although that's not the best sort of way to display a bonsai, it's better than sat on the ground. So I will probably bring those back. We're going to get the bonsai and a couple of garden tubs with trees in, and a few plants out of the garden. Plus, luckily, inside the shed, when I went to get a few tools out so that they could, clear the rest out without having to worry about whether I wanted any of it or not, I cleared my bits out. There was some shelving in there, which is along the lines of this sort of thing, and they were put in the shed to put stuff on. And so I did say to my sisters, when you clear the shed out, if those green shelves can be left in the garden, I can probably make use of them. But I couldn't be bothered to clear all the stuff off of them and get them out of the shed myself, so I was expecting them to throw them away, because normally when I ask them to do something especially for me, they don't bother. So if those shelves are there in the garden, we'll bring those back. Those can go in this shed, in addition to some shelves I bought, which I haven't put together yet. So that'll give me a lot of storage space in the shed to get things up off the floor and be visible. Because at the moment, there's stuff all over the floor and I don't know what's in there. There's boxes haven't been unpacked yet. And stuff. So I need to get that sorted out. If my son comes over, we'll try and we've got a day to do it. What we don't get done in the day, I'll obviously have to do on my own, so I want to get as much as possible done. And it's 2, possibly 3 trips. The bonsai is a trip on its own. The garden tubs and the pots are probably a trip on their own. And then tables, chairs and shelving. Maybe slotted in between, because I mean the bonsai, if you look at the surface area that the pots take up, it's not that great really, so they can go in with other things. So but anyway, that's the plan for tomorrow. And the good thing is the weather's on our side. It's not going to rain and it's turned mild, so it's not freezing cold. So anyway, that's the plan for tomorrow, to get the bonsai back. I'm not going to try and film bringing them back and all that sort of stuff, but you know, once they're back here, then perhaps I'll film them in their temporary accommodation. As I said, they had some specific staging there, but that's too big to bring back, and it's also rotting. It's falling apart. So you know, I was probably, if I'd stayed there, I was probably going to have to do something about that anyway, because it's just falling apart. But it's lasted since I got there, so it's done pretty good. That was treated timber when I got it, so pressure treated, so it's lasted very well, considering it's just been out in the weather without any subsequent treatment, so that's done well. Anyway, that's it for today, just a sort of quick update. Sorry I forgot everything in bloom on the 8th. I won't forget this month. Mind you, there it is. That's that job done. But maybe by the 8th we'll have a few extras, because there are some buds pushing on, specifically the zygo, Laelia anceps, and a dendrobium, black hair type. It's got some buds swelling, so maybe there'll be some extras. But what I'm more interested in is, as we head through February and get towards the other end, is the rate of growth on slow moving plants and things coming back into growth that have been virtually static through the winter with the cooler temps. As far as temperatures are concerned, I don't know what's going to happen here. I mean, obviously if the outside temperature is 20 degrees, it's unlikely to be a lot colder in here, isn't it? You've got to sort of think along those lines. It's more likely to be alongside, but I don't know what's going to happen with my night temperatures and day temperatures and that quite important differential. I mean, at the moment the heater maintains my sort of 14-15 degrees at night, and then during the day, when it gets to about 9 o'clock and the house is cosy, I open this door up and I up the thermostat from 16 to 18, and for half an hour or so it kicks on and it raises the temperature in here. But by the time it's done that, the temperature in the house is compatible, so the heater and the fan just stop going for the rest of the day, and there's an ambient temperature in here of about 19 degrees, 18, 19. Now at some point that will change, but I don't know when, because I'm not going to get the sun interfering with things this year. Well, certainly until well into the midsummer period anyway. So without getting any sun on the glass, I don't know what my daytime temperatures are going to be. I haven't got a clue. That's another wait and see. Anyway, it's I get caught out by the daylight already. It's nearly 5 o'clock. It's nearly my tea time. I should be out in the kitchen thinking about what I'm going to have and preparing and stuff, instead of messing about pointing the camera out here. But yeah, the you know, sunset getting dark time is noticeably getting later now. It's good stuff, and I mean it's a cloudy day today. There's been no sun at all, and yet at virtually 5 o'clock it's still quite light, you know. So there we go. So I'll be busy tomorrow. I doubt if I'll film anything. I might whiz the camera around the bonsai when I get them back here, just to have a quick look at them and remind everybody what they look like. Sticks in a pot basically, apart from the conifer. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.